Today we're diving into Bikini Bottom to look at 6 of the most loved and 8 of the most hated characters in SpongeBob SquarePants. We're putting the spotlight on the characters that fans absolutely adore and calling out the ones they just can't stand. From SpongeBob himself to Plankton and from Mr. Krabs to Bubble Bass. We're ranking them based on personality, behavior, and how the fan base has reacted over time. I'm curious what your opinion is. Let me know in the comments. It's no surprise that SpongeBob SquarePants tops the list of most loved characters. He's the face of the entire show. From day one, SpongeBob has been all about optimism, hard work, and finding joy in the little things, like flipping Krabby Patties or jellyfishing with Patrick. His energy is contagious, and even when things go wrong, which is often, SpongeBob bounces back with a smile and a positive attitude. What makes SpongeBob so lovable is how consistent he is. No matter how badly Squidward treats him or how many times he fails his boating exam, he never gives up or holds a grudge. He's loyal to his friends, respectful to his boss, even if Mr. Krabs doesn't deserve it, and always tries to do the right thing, even when it's not easy. Of course, not everyone in Bikini Bottom finds him charming. Characters like Squidward or Mrs. Puff might see him as a walking headache, but for viewers, that's part of the fun. His innocence and over-the-top enthusiasm clash perfectly with the grumpy personalities around him, creating some of the show's best comedy. Whether he's singing The Best Day Ever or turning a simple jellyfish field into a theme park, SpongeBob reminds us what it's like to love life. And that's why fans of all ages still adore him after all these years. Patrick Star is SpongeBob's best friend and one of the most iconic sidekicks in cartoon history. He's simple-minded, slow, and often clueless. But that's exactly what makes him so hilarious and lovable. Whether he's living under a rock, literally, yelling, "No, this is Patrick," or just getting into trouble with SpongeBob, Patrick brings a special kind of energy to every scene he's in. What fans love about Patrick is that he's genuine. He doesn't pretend to be smart or cool. He's just himself, and he's totally okay with that. He's loyal to SpongeBob no matter what, and even when his actions make things worse, he always means well. That innocent charm is part of what makes his dumbest moments feel so brilliant. Some of the show's funniest scenes come straight from Patrick's mouth, like his famous "The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma" line, followed by a spilled milk carton. It's absurd, it's unexpected, and it's pure Patrick. That said, fans have noticed a change in Patrick's personality in later seasons, where he sometimes comes off as mean or aggressive. We'll get into that in the hated section. But when you look at classic Patrick, the jellyfishing, ice cream loving, totally clueless best friend, there's a reason fans can't get enough of him. Squidward tentacles may hate everything around him, especially SpongeBob and Patrick, but fans, they absolutely love him. At first glance, Squidward seems like the show's grump. He's sarcastic, impatient, and constantly annoyed by SpongeBob's over-the-top energy. But that's exactly why so many viewers connect with him. He represents the adult perspective in a world full of chaos. While SpongeBob lives in a bubble of joy, Squidward is just trying to survive the day, like many of us. What makes Squidward special is how relatable he is. He works a job he hates, deals with loud neighbors, and dreams of a more peaceful life filled with art and music. He might act superior, but deep down, he's insecure and just wants to be appreciated. And even though he pretends not to care, there are moments where he shows that he does, like when he sticks up for SpongeBob or secretly enjoys their adventures. In fact, as the series went on, more and more fans started seeing Squidward as the true everyman of Bikini Bottom. He's the character you laugh at as a kid, but totally relate to as an adult. Whether he's playing his clarinet off-key, getting dragged into another SpongeBob disaster, or dreaming of a world without noise, Squidward has become an unlikely fan favorite. Proof that even the most miserable guy in town can have a soft spot in our hearts. Sandy Cheeks is the brains of Bikini Bottom, and one of the most unique characters in the entire show. A squirrel from Texas who lives underwater in a glass dome, she brings a mix of intelligence, toughness, and southern charm that fans instantly loved. What makes Sandy stand out is how different she is from everyone else. She's a scientist, an inventor, and a skilled martial artist. One episode she's building a rocket ship, the next she's going full-on karate with SpongeBob. She's always confident and never afraid to speak her mind, making her a strong female character in a world full of goofy fish. Fans especially appreciate how Sandy balances out the cast. While SpongeBob and Patrick are often clueless, Sandy is logical and focused, but she's not just serious. She has a fun, adventurous side too. Whether she's wrestling sea creatures or showing off her Texan pride, she adds a different flavor to every episode she's in. Sandy's mix of brains, strength, and bold personality makes her one of the most respected and beloved characters in the series, and a total fan favorite. Sheldon J. Plankton, better known as just Plankton, is technically a villain, but let's be honest, fans love him. Sure, he's always trying to steal the Krabby Patty secret formula, but it's hard not to root for a guy who fails in the most dramatic and hilarious ways possible. Plankton is small in size, but he makes up for it with over-the-top plans, big speeches, and endless determination. Every time he gets crushed, zapped, or humiliated, he just dusts himself off and tries again. That kind of persistence is actually kind of admirable. What makes Plankton so likable is how funny and relatable he is. He's not evil just for the sake of being evil. He's a lonely guy running a failing business, the chum bucket, and trying to compete with a greedy giant across the street. His relationship with his talking computer wife, Karen, is also one of the show's most underrated dynamics. Their sarcastic back and forth adds depth and humor to his character. Over time, Plankton has gone from a one-note villain to one of the most developed characters on the show, and fans love him for it. Gary the Snail might not say much, besides the occasional meow, but he's easily one of the most adored characters in SpongeBob SquarePants. At first glance, Gary seems like just a background pet, but over the years, fans have noticed that he's actually one of the smartest and most emotionally grounded characters on the show. He's calm, observant, and often the voice of reason, in contrast to SpongeBob's chaotic energy. Some episodes even hint that Gary is far more intelligent than anyone realizes, quietly reading books or solving problems while everyone else is running around in circles. What makes Gary so lovable is how much he clearly means to SpongeBob. Their bond is strong, like in the emotional episode, Have You Seen This Snail? When Gary runs away and SpongeBob sings the now iconic song, Gary Come Home. It reminded fans just how important Gary really is. Whether he's chilling in his bowl, escaping a bath, or just watching SpongeBob's nonsense with pure judgment in his eyes, Gary proves that you don't have to speak to steal a scene. He's the ultimate silent MVP of Bikini Bottom, and fans wouldn't have it any other way. Eugene H. Krabs, better known as Mr. Krabs, is the money-obsessed owner of the Krusty Krab, and easily one of the most criticized characters in the series. When the show first began, Mr. Krabs was a pretty simple character, a cheap but funny boss who loved money and ran the best burger joint in town. But as the seasons went on, his obsession with wealth became darker and more extreme. Fans started to notice that Mr. Krabs would do anything to make a profit, even if it meant putting his employees or daughter at risk. He underpays SpongeBob, exploits Squidward, and cuts corners at every turn. There are episodes where he sells SpongeBob's soul, forces him to work non-stop, or shows zero concern for anyone's well-being. One of the most infamous examples is when he sells SpongeBob to the Flying Dutchman for 62 cents. What really pushes fans over the edge is how heartless he can be. While characters like Plankton or Squidward have moments of vulnerability and growth, Mr. Krabs often just comes across as greedy and selfish. Even his relationship with his daughter, Pearl, feels awkward and underdeveloped. Yes, he has funny moments. Yes, he's part of some iconic episodes. But the deeper you look, the more you realize why many fans put him high on their most hated list. Mr. Krabs isn't just cheap. He's cold, calculating, and willing to sell out anyone for $1. The Tattletail Strangler only appears in one episode, but that was more than enough for fans to remember him, and not in a good way. Introduced in season 3, this creepy, overly intense criminal becomes one of the show's darkest characters. After SpongeBob reports him to the police for committing crimes, the Strangler escapes jail and tries to stalk and strangle SpongeBob in revenge. Yeah, it gets that intense. While the episode plays it for laughs, many fans found the entire storyline off-putting, especially for a kids show. What makes the Tattletail Strangler land on the hated list isn't just that he's a villain, it's that he's not entertaining or funny like Plankton or Man Ray. He's aggressive, one-dimensional, and honestly kind of scary. His presence doesn't bring out any new layers in the other characters either. He just exists to chase SpongeBob around and make things weirdly uncomfortable. Even though he's mostly forgotten in the overall series, hardcore fans still bring him up when listing the show's creepiest or most unnecessary characters. In a world full of fun weirdos, the Strangler just feels out of place, and definitely not someone fans were hoping to see again. Pearl Krabs is Mr. Krabs' teenage daughter, and one of the more divisive characters in the SpongeBob universe. From the start, Pearl's character has always felt a bit out of place. She's a giant whale in a world mostly full of fish, and while that could have been an opportunity for something fun or unique, the show never really did much with her. Instead, she's mostly written as a stereotypical teenage girl, obsessed with shopping, popularity, and boy bands. That kind of one-note personality wears thin fast. Fans often criticize Pearl for being whiny, shallow, and honestly, kind of annoying. She spends most of her screen time complaining, usually about her dad, and rarely shows growth or purpose beyond that. And speaking of her dad, her relationship with Mr. Krabs has always been strange. There's no real backstory explaining how a crab ended up with a whale for a daughter, and the show never dives into it, which leaves their dynamic feeling random and underdeveloped. Some episodes try to give Pearl more heart, but they're few and far between. In the end, she's often remembered more for her loud voice and eye rolls than anything meaningful, which is why many fans rank her among the least favorite characters in the series. Mrs. Puff, SpongeBob's boating school teacher, is supposed to be a responsible adult figure, but over the years she's become one of the show's most disliked characters by many fans. At first, it's easy to sympathize with her. She's stuck trying to teach the most dangerous and unpredictable student in Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob. No matter how hard she tries, he constantly fails, crashes, and causes chaos. But instead of handling it with patience or humor, Mrs. Puff often reacts with anger, fear, and, in some episodes, even violence. As the series progressed, fans began to notice a darker side to her character. She's been shown trying to escape her job, fake SpongeBob's passing grade just to get rid of him, and even fantasizing about his, well, let's say, removal. Her hatred for SpongeBob became so extreme that it stopped being funny and started feeling just plain cruel. On top of that, she rarely shows kindness or warmth, making her hard to root for, even when she's clearly stressed out. While she plays a key role in many episodes, Mrs. Puff's cold, bitter attitude and growing hostility towards SpongeBob have made her one of the more controversial characters in the series. Bubble Bass is one of those characters who shows up for a few episodes, but makes a lasting and pretty negative impression. He first appeared in the classic episode Pickles, where he humiliates SpongeBob by falsely claiming that his Krabby Patty didn't have pickles. What really got under fans' skin? He was hiding the pickles under his tongue the entire time. That one act of pettiness, all to make SpongeBob doubt himself, instantly branded Bubble Bass as one of the show's most frustrating side characters. But it's not just that one moment. Bubble Bass is known for his arrogance, sarcasm, and smug attitude. He talks down to people, treats everyone like they're beneath him, and never really learns a lesson. Even in later episodes where he returns, he's still rude, self-centered, and socially awkward in the worst way. Fans don't find him funny or complex. They find him annoying and pointless. He doesn't add anything meaningful to the story, just negativity. That's why Bubble Bass consistently lands on lists of the most hated characters in Bikini Bottom. Kevin C. Cucumber may have only appeared in one episode, but that was more than enough for fans to label him as one of the most unlikable characters in the SpongeBob universe. He shows up in I'm Your Biggest Fanatic as the leader of the Jelly Spotters, a group obsessed with jellyfishing. SpongeBob idolizes Kevin and is thrilled to meet him, but Kevin turns out to be nothing more than a cocky, selfish jerk. He immediately looks down on SpongeBob, mocks him, and only keeps him around to laugh at his mistakes. Worse, he purposely puts SpongeBob in danger just to show off in front of his followers. Kevin has no redeeming qualities. He's arrogant, shallow, and thrives on making others feel inferior. Even when SpongeBob saves him, Kevin barely shows gratitude. He's the definition of fake popularity, and fans were glad he was a one-time character. His smug attitude and mean-spirited behavior made sure he wouldn't be missed. Flats the Flounder is one of the most disliked characters in SpongeBob for a simple reason. He's a classic bully with zero depth or charm. He appears in the episode The Bully, where he randomly transfers into SpongeBob's boating school class. Almost immediately, he threatens SpongeBob by saying, "I'm gonna kick your butt." There's no real explanation, no build-up, just pure intimidation. What makes it worse is that no one believes SpongeBob when he tries to tell someone. Not Mrs. Puff, not the other students. He's completely alone, which made many viewers feel uncomfortable. Unlike other villains who are funny, misguided, or even likable in some twisted way, Flats offers nothing but hostility. He's not entertaining, he's not clever, he's just a violent one-note character. And while the episode tries to end on a humorous note, it doesn't make up for how unsettling his behavior was. Fans agree. Flats the Flounder isn't just a bad guy, he's a bad character. Squilliam Fancyson is Squidward's old high school rival, and he's one of the most smug, arrogant characters in all of SpongeBob, which is exactly why so many fans can't stand him. Every time Squilliam appears, it's for one reason: to brag. He flaunts his wealth, fame, and success in front of Squidward, knowing exactly how to hit where it hurts. Whether it's showing off his luxurious lifestyle or mocking Squidward's artistic dreams, Squilliam's main goal is to belittle and embarrass. Unlike other rich characters who are at least funny or redeemable, Squilliam is just flat out mean. He doesn't grow, change, or learn anything. He exists to be a snob. And what frustrates fans even more? He usually gets away with it. Squidward rarely gets a win, and Squilliam almost always walks away smirking. He may only appear in a few episodes, but that's all it takes. Squilliam's smugness and constant one-upping have earned him a solid spot on the most hated list. So that's our breakdown of the most loved and most hated characters in the world of SpongeBob SquarePants. But now we want to hear from you. Do you agree with our list? Is there a character you love that everyone else seems to hate, or one you can't stand that's usually a fan favorite? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's get the conversation going. If you enjoyed this expanded look at most loved vs most hated SpongeBob characters, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Let us know what other SpongeBob questions you'd like us to explore next.